Okay, keeping on. This is the final of the few sections that we're doing today. This is part 4, or section 9 of the Doctrine and Covenants as we have it today. This one is called A Commandment in big letters. I believe that's John Whitmer's handwriting in Revelation Book 1. And that is the earliest version that we have. And unfortunately, we don't have all of it. So the actual most early version of this is going to be coming from the Book of Commandments, if you want the whole thing. But the front end of it is still there. If you're numbering the pages of the book of Revelation Book 1, pages 15 through 22 are missing entirely. So because of that, we only get the front end of section 9. So the very last thing you get is, quote, "You to forget the thing which is wrong. There you cannot write that which is sacred, save it be given unto you." Pages 15 through 22 missing. So that's all you get. And they're just kind of gone. The published volume shows a lot of changes made by Sidney Rigdon and a few from John Whitmer. And then you also even have a little date written in there from Oliver Cowdery. And you can see that here. Just this is what the published book looks like. There's a couple of, just kind of modifications made to the text because these were kind of living text that they would modify every once in a while. So circumstances surrounding section 9. That's about all we have for section 9. Very little is given in the historical introductions. This section, just to share what it's about, which would explain the circumstances, is that in sections 6, and specifically in section 8, Oliver Cowdery has promised that he can actually, pick up the spectacles, so to speak, and translate the Book of Mormon for himself, or ancient records, which we have to assume includes the Book of Mormon. And so he does it for like a little while, and then it just stops working, and he gets frustrated. And so section 9 is revealed, and the Lord is like, look, don't be mad that I've treated you this way. And there's a lot of important things, like you took no thought, save it was just to ask me. Like, what work did you do to put into this and all this kind of stuff? So this is a very important section to modern Latter-day Saints, because it kind of lets us know you don't just sit back and hope that God is going to take care of things for you. Like, you need to, if you want to know something, go study the scriptures and find it. Pray, fast, go to the temple, like do the work, do the educational work that happens, which I think is what any good teacher would tell you. So the historical introduction says this. It says, previous revelations promising that Cowdery could translate had stated that he would be able to assist in bringing to light parts of my scriptures which have been hidden, records which contain much of my gospel, and the engravings of old records, but did not specify the Book of Mormon in particular. Now, I would call that maybe splitting hairs, I think. But to be fair to the guy, he did get to do some of the Book of Mormon, even though it's not specifically mentioned, and he does participate in other things. So I'm going to give you an opinion here. Again, this is amateur historian. I'm going to make this enormously clear that there's a lot of things that we don't know, because there's a lot of the original Book of Mormon manuscript that is missing. However, from what we have left over, and if you want to bust open your scriptures, Alma chapter 45, verse 22. Part of that verse is written in the hand of Joseph Smith. And we have that in the original Book of Mormon manuscript. Now, again, there's so much that's lost, but I submit to you that my opinion is that when Oliver got to take over, and that Joseph wrote for him instead, that this is what you get. And so my opinion is that this section 9 is actually based on what we see here out of the original manuscript of the Book of Mormon, is the best thing I can give you, because there's no other indication that Joseph ever put his hand to to this paperwork. He was always on the other side of the table, so to speak. So that is my opinion. My opinion. It's not an official church statement, but I think that was fun. I remember when I was first reading when the original manuscript came out, I was giddy for two reasons. For starters, it's just kind of fun to see him. I mean, how cool is that? And two, maybe brag just a teeny bit here. I have actually handled one of these pages. It was in a plastic sheath, so I didn't damage anything, but they were being displayed once, and I actually got to sort of see this, which is a very special thing to me as a Latter-day Saint. A lot of people have done that. I am not a special person, but it was very special to me. But anyway, as I'm reading through the original manuscript of the Book of Mormon, it was just really, really special to think about what you're looking at, and to see Joseph's handwriting just, gets my imagination going. The other thing that was really great about it is that so much of it's missing that the book was short, and so I read it really quickly. I'm not necessarily a fan of like just sitting around and reading. I like finishing books, so it was nice that it was short. Very sad that we lost it, but anyway, so a little personal thing there that I just think is really cool, that we might have Oliver Cowdery translating here, which I think is really special. And obviously, there's a big part of me that hopes that that's true, but we'll never really know for sure, I think. However, splitting hairs here. Oh, I wasn't really talking about the Book of Mormon and all that. Don't think I was being unfair to you or anything like that. What I will say is that Oliver did have a major hand in, obviously, this parchment translation of what we now call Section 7, which was from John the Beloved. And then another one that we have, which is the Book of Abraham, which was papyrus found inside of ancient mummied tombs, coffins, that they translated into English as well. I would maybe submit that the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible could be considered part of this, although that wasn't really in the same vein, because this is talking about engravings and old writings and things like that. So again, you can put that in there if you like. Again, amateur historian speaking here. And that's basically it for Section 9, is you get Oliver, having his shot at going through it. It doesn't work out, but what we do get is some clarification from Latter-day Saint theology about how do we approach spiritual work and how do we approach revelations and, interpreting even languages. And this kind of pattern is very actively taught in the church today. These sections, what we would call chapter 4 from the history of the church, sections 6, 7, 8, and 9, are a major pattern, not only for the early church, but the church from that day to this. These are referred back to. They're very personal. This is before a book is published. This is before a church is organized. This is before any of that. This is two guys sitting in a house in Pennsylvania doing their best to answer questions. And so very, very grateful. Again, just want to give a shout out once again to the magnificent work that the people of the Joseph Smith Papers put into this, which has lasted for 15 years. But before that, again, like I've said, here's my little book of commandments. The community of Christ, the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We wouldn't have these revelation books. We wouldn't have any of that stuff if it wasn't for them. So I just wanted to say a personal thank you to that, because these sections are important to a lot of people and have given comfort and peace to a lot of people. So again, some personal stuff there at the end. I hope you have enjoyed our little exploration of 4 of the sections of the Doctrine and Covenants and some of the seemingly strange things, at least to us in our time, that Oliver Cowdery and Joseph Smith asked about, went through, participated in, believed in at the time. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and we will see you next week.